She knew that I was going to do my best. And I actually saw an artist that had a show in New York that he was doing extremely close, realistic paintings, and I really wanted to see how far I could take acrylic to that. And I think I could probably go further now, but I think this is a good start. I was very happy with it. It brought me to tears just to do that, to see how well I was able to create my wife. It's almost like when I'm painting things like this, it's very much like I'm creating them. So it's as if I was God creating her, and it was just the process of it seemed very beautiful to me.
To be able to capture that, and she looks so poised and so beautiful, like she'll give you that look and go, honey, it's amazing. It's just amazing. What makes acrylics easy for you? Definitely
the dry time. A lot of people say that oil paintings have a greater quality of color. I really don't think so. Like these ones that I have here don't have it, but my Transfiguration, I put a varnish over top of it at the end, and it saturated the color so much and enhanced it that it looked like old painting. It was gorgeous, and I'm going to start doing that more often now. And we have a picture of that. We've edited that in when you talked about the Transfiguration in the first segment, right. And even now we'll get that little close-up of it so we can see what you mean. Have you ever liked doing just straight charcoals or just drawings, just sketches? Have you ever liked anything like that? Do you? Well, that's all I did up until 5 years ago. I had never performed a painting before, and I just drew. And I've used charcoals a few times. I even done a charcoal sketch for a lady that I had done a painting for her grandchildren, and then she wanted a sketch of herself. So I did that, and then you spray a fixed adhesive, fixative over top of it to keep it from smudging and stuff like that. Right. Wow. Well, stay with us again, because that'll take us to our next beautiful, beautiful painting and our next segment, when we will show you a burst of color and a burst of history and a little bit about this guy getting his canvases. Well, he doesn't get them, he actually makes them. So stay tuned for more of Around Town. We'll be right back with our guest, Chris Heflin.
You can't text and pay attention to the world around you, and you definitely can't text and drive. Every year, deaths due to distracted and negligent driving are increasing. In fact, while drunk driving rates have dropped greatly, negligent driving fatalities have skyrocketed. Find out more at negligentdriving.com.
I helped build it.
So did I.
We're helping too.
Nosotros ayudamos, ahora es nuestra.
Musicians are helping too. We helped build it. We all helped build it.
Rosa and I helped build it too. Through 30 years and 200,000 houses, Habitat for Humanity has been building homes and lives in America and around the world.
Habitat for Humanity. Support the work in your community. Visit habitat.org.
The Friends of the Rappahannock work to keep the Rappahannock River clean and scenic for our uses today and for the generations that follow. But protecting a river takes many voices. Join us today and help make a difference for our river and our community.
I love the Rappahannock and its waters running free. In the rapids of this river, that's where I want to be.
Welcome back to Around Town. I'm Susan Sublime Harrington, your host, and do I have an artist for you? Chris, thank you once again for being with us.
Thank you. This
is Chris Heflin, and Chris has done the art all around us. Chris, I want to talk about this picture, but we're going to talk about one more close-up of a very important person to you, and it's the picture down here in front. What is that?
This is a painting of my professor, Dr. King. He's the head of the Department of Physics at my school, and actually going to be giving this to him today as a present. I have a presentation in physics, and it's art and physics.
Oh, really?
And it's just a small 10-minute segment. It's a precursor to a 30-minute, but it's to do with the examination of paintings as far as like seeing the underdrawings, using different technology like X-radiology and using a scanning electron microscope and stuff like that.
There's so much we don't know. So they can actually look at this picture and be able to see how you did it in layers?
They could, yeah.
That is wild. That is wild. So do you think he'll be excited about this?
Oh yeah, definitely. Hopefully he'll put it in his office.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I don't even know him, and if I'd put it in my office, I think he would do that, definitely. Now, before the break, we talked about briefly that it was a tidbit of information you gave me that you don't go out and buy your own frames. Most of your pictures are very, very large. So not only do you work, not only do you go to college at Mary Washington, University of Mary Washington, and have a great professor and a great art teacher, not only are you a great husband, but you also build your own frames.
Well, it saves all that money.
Yeah? How much can that save, building a frame this size? Or?
Well, if I went and bought a canvas this size, of course I would use a coupon, but it would probably cost me about $60 for a canvas this size.
Right. So this is heavier. I paint too, and this is heavier than the frames that I could buy.
I just go to Home Depot. That's my favorite place to go, next to stuff like that. And I'm handy with my hands. I built my home from me and my wife, and so I can do things like that. So I built the frame, and then I stretch the canvas myself and prime it.
Wow. Is there anything you can't do?
If I can, I'm trying to learn.
Are you? That is the attitude, everybody. That is the attitude. Okay, so tell me about that. I found out that this is already sold. During the break, I tried to get it from him, and he said, no, it already belongs to somebody. Tell me about this painting. What is the significance of it? And the small little part that you showed me down at the bottom, what is important about that?
Well, this is actually, it was the first recorded image of a violin in a painting.
That's right down there. You can see that right down there.
And you could actually tell because of the strings. There's only 3 strings on this. I think there's other ones that are called like a viol, and other ones are different. But this one's very specific to that. And the significance of the painting is it's actually Madonna with child. So it's Mary with her son Jesus, and then it has the shepherds, and it's a nativity scene. And it has the cherubs all around. It's actually, I believe there's 8 or 9 cherubs. I got a little tired of painting babies.
Well, and you said that this was taken from another painting or an offshoot of another painting. So do you feel inspired even more, or put yourself in that artist's shoes when you do something like this?
Yeah, definitely. More so on the Transfiguration. This one, I like it, but more the Transfiguration is so much more saturated in color. It's just colors are just blow up in your face. It's just so gorgeous. So I felt more of that with that painting, just feeling like I was learning the struggles that he found, and you find what was difficult to him and what techniques he had to go around to achieve certain things.
Right.
It's very, very beneficial to learn from things like that.
So when somebody looks at you, I mean, they're looking at the show and people are probably blown away. I am absolutely blown away by this guy. When somebody looks at you in the future, what do you want them to see? What do you want them to, when they look at this art, they come to your art shows. You can have art shows. You're good.
Thank you.
So what is it you want people to think or to see or to know about you?
I want them to know that I'm completely concerned and care about not only the art that I produce, but the art of others, and that maybe this community can grow. And there's so many art galleries downtown, but from what I understand in the community nowadays is that art's not cherished as much as it should be. I mean, you have photography and things like that, and that's definitely another field for that. But I don't want to take away from paintings itself, because that's a hand-done work. It takes a lot of time and effort, and I think it's something very important to cherish.
Now, and you also cherish your church, and they support you. They definitely cherish you. Your church is which church?
It's New Life in Christ Church.
Okay, is that in?
It's behind the Spotsylvania Mall.
Okay, so New Life in Christ, and they support you and love your art. And what is it that you get from that community that helps you grow in this and with your family?
Well, my pastor is always definitely very, him and his wife definitely are always very interested in seeing my works. And
What are their names?
it's Pastor Doug and Mary Jane Kittredge.
Okay.
And anybody in the whole church, I produce paintings for many of them, and not only just commissioned, but also just as gifts. And anytime we have an art show, usually every year, and it's an art festival that we have around February, and I always have my paintings in it, so it's a great opportunity for me to have my works where I can have people that I know that like to see my work come in. I can share it with the church, and I think of paintings every day when I'm in church.
Do you?
And I write down the ideas that I have, and I eventually get to produce them.
That is awesome. So if there's somebody, whether it's a young kid or a young kid like me, or somebody a little bit younger in spirit but older than me, anybody at all, they're watching the show now and they're thinking, I can start painting, because you just decided to start 5 years ago. So what would you tell them? I want you to look into that camera. I want you to look into their hearts, and I want you to give them a piece of advice that might tip them over the edge and give it a whirl.
Well, even when I'm teaching Sunday school at my church, there's these little kids that are just drawing, and they're a little nervous about it. They're not certain if they're good enough, and that's where I started. I started drawing, and really that's all it takes. And then when you want to get to that next step of painting, you've already drawn for so long that you know how to, produce the different sizes and proportionating well. And then you already know how to change light different from, you started with crayons, and then you went maybe to color pencils and Prismacolor pastels. Painting's not far from it. You lay down the colors, you introduce the light into it, and you learn from yourself. I think that's a big thing. Eventually along the way, you're going to need to ask somebody who's done it before, well, I'm doing this technique, and maybe you have a little bit of advice that I could do for that, and then you'll take that from them, and you'll take it and you'll add it to what you've already done. But it's best for you, I think, to learn for yourself first, so that way you can maybe come at it a way different than somebody else does. And I think that's very important.
That is very good advice. If people want to get hold of you, if you want to get hold of Chris, then we are going to have an email address for you at the end of the show. He does do commission work, special projects, etc. He's willing to work with anybody coming up with a piece of art that you can share. So Chris, I cannot thank you enough for sharing with us today.
Thank you.
Absolutely awesome. And I know that we will be seeing Chris around town, and I know that we'll be seeing him farther up the art scale where people are going to be vying for your work. I will. I already am. I've already got one I'm commissioning. So for you, I am so glad you got to see this show. My name is Susan Sablon Harrington, your host. We've been with Chris Heflin, and you've been watching Around Town. Stay tuned next time.
And I haven't shaken hands yet. We've never chatted at a party. Our kids play different sports.
But I can honestly say, without ever having met you,
I'll help save your life. When you help the American Red Cross, you help America.
Each small beauty we experience, each discovery we enjoy, is our responsibility to share with generations to come. To share your gift, visit earthshare.org.
Want to help? Make it easy on everyone. Send cash, the most effective form of disaster relief. CIDI.org.